we will be in the position of Norman, who found out the secret of this orphanage. One of the children at the orphanage, named Connie, gets adopted and are preparing to leave. Our adoptive mother takes Connie to the gate at night to be taken to their new family. After they leave, we realize Connie forgot their stuffed bunny behind, so we go to bring it back to them at the gate. When we get to the gate, we find that it's open and there's a truck inside, which we assume is gonna take Connie to their new family. When we look inside the truck, however, we find Connie's corpse lying inside the truck. We hear voices coming from inside and we go to hide underneath the truck. As we watch a door open, several monster-like creatures come out talking about shipments and feasting on children. We also see our adoptive mother working together with the demons. When the opportunity comes, we manage to escape without the demons seeing us. Unlike in the show, I wouldn't leave the stuffed bunny rabbit behind for them to find. Since the stuffed bunny wasn't left behind, our adoptive mother and the demons have no reason to suspect any of the children found out what's really going on at this orphanage. We get back to the house and ponder what we should do next, deciding that we need to make an escape plan in order to get out of here before we get killed. Not only that, but Emma wants us to take all 37 of our siblings with us. It's going to be hard to accomplish, but we set out to accomplish this. The next day we get up and do everything as we normally do. We need to act normal, as if we have no idea about what happened at the gate. After breakfast, when we have more free time to roam around the house, I would suggest playing hide and seek with my other siblings. I would do this so I can look for cameras and wired apps just in case her mother could be listening in on our conversations or watching what we are doing when we are not in her presence. Right now, only me and Emma are the only ones aware of what happens at the gate. We have to be careful who we share our information with, as well as one of the other children could be helping mom whether they want to or not. Not to mention, children aren't very good at keeping secrets. Once I find out that there's no wired apps or cameras in the house, I would go relay this information to Emma in an isolated location with just the two of us. Because there's no wired apps or cameras, there might be another way our mother is keeping track of us, such as a tracker to find our location. If this is true, we need to know if there actually are trackers and how much information the trackers reveal about us. One of us should stick close to our mother when we are not together so we can potentially see what information she might reveal. When we are outside playing with the other children, we can pretend to lose someone and ask our mother to help find them. When this happens, she'll look down at her watch and we'll get a glimpse of the trackers. From the glimpse of the tracks, it seems to be able to pinpoint someone's location, but not who it is specifically. Now we need to figure out the location of the trackers on our bodies. We can't seem to find any location of scars where the trackers might be on ourselves. However, a new baby is brought into the orphanage, and if they were also implanted with a tracker, the mark would be much more noticeable. Looking over the baby, we see a mark on their ear and figure that might be where the tracker is located. Now we have to figure out how much time we have to plan. Judging from the times children left the orphanage, there's about a 2-month window before the next person gets adopted. They also only seem to be adopting people over the age of 6, and once you reach 12 years old, you get shipped out no matter what. Me and Emma are 11 years old, so we have to make the most of our time. Now that we know how much surveillance her mother has over us, we can now decide how we are going to escape. The only options we have for escaping are the forest or the gate. The gate is always closed unless someone is getting adopted, and when it's open, the demons are there, so taking the forest is a much better option. The next time we are free to play outside, I would suggest we play tag. While playing tag, me and Emma would go as deep as we can into the forest. With all the children in the forest, the tracker wouldn't be able to tell who is going so deep into the forest if our mother checks the trackers if she has a reason to. Not to mentioning, if she sees someone go past the gate in the forest, it won't seem as suspicious, since one of the children could be cheating by going past the gate in the forest when we are not supposed to. When we get to the end of the forest, we find a huge concrete wall more than 3 times our height. We can climb it with just our bodies, so we climb a tree to try and see over it. The trees aren't close enough for us to get on top of the wall, but we can see over it. Over the wall looks like more forest, but it would be good to actually get on top of the wall to get a complete view of our situation. Me and Emma decide to use tablecloths as rope by tying them together so we can make it on top of the wall. When we come out play tag again, we would bring the rope and get on top of the wall. When we get on top of the wall, we would see a huge cavern between the wall and the forest. It's too far to jump across, but we might be able to swing across with some longer rope if we can get the rope to the other side. Me and Emma would run across the wall looking for a spot closest to the wall where we could more easily find a way across. We managed to find a spot close enough to the wall that we could potentially use. After this, we would go back and I get paper and map out where everything is. Now that we have a rough idea of what we'll do to escape, now we have to worry about getting rid of the trackers and telling the rest of our siblings what's going on and what we plan to do. If there is someone working with our mother out of one of the children, it would have to be one of the older children as they've been here for longer. We can rule out Emma and myself since we just found out about what this orphanage really is. That means Ray, Don, or Gilda would the most likely candidates to be a spy for our mother. I would arrange a meeting place with all 5 of us to discuss what's happening in an isolated location. When we get everyone together and tell them our situation but not our plan yet. Don thinks it's a joke. Gilda is actually worried and Ray doesn't really seem to care. I find Ray's reaction suspicious since he doesn't really seem concerned at the situation. We finally convinced Don about the situation, but Ray still doesn't seem affected by our circumstances. I devise a plan to see if any of them might be the traitor. I tell Ray about hiding a map in 2 different locations, one for Gilda and one for Don. I then tell Don a different location for hiding the map than what I told Ray as well as Gilda. The map in question isn't the actual map we use but just a redraw I had made without any of the details surrounding our informed of this orphanage. Later we find that the location I told Ray where the map was for Don is gone. Since I didn't actually tell Don this and only Ray knew about it, that means Ray is a traitor. I confront Ray about being the traitor, and after he admits to it I suggest to him that we work together. Ray doesn't want to take everyone with us as it would most likely get us killed. I try to convince him that it would be better taking everyone since we'd have more people working together. If we teach everyone certain roles, it could actually benefit us and help us in our escape plan. I'd also ask if Ray told our mother about anything about who knows about what this orphanage really is. If he did, then we have to move up our schedule when we have to escape. Ray says that he actually wants to help us escape though, and that he might be able to make something to break the trackers. Ray seems to be on both sides at the moment, so we would need to convince his reasons as to why it would be better to be on our side. Now that we know who's who, we can start figuring out how to escape with everyone. First, I would make a rope as long as I can attest to see how far I could throw the rope over the cavern. This way we would know how long the rope needs to be and how many ropes this long we can make. Once I get a rough estimate of how far across the cavern is, I would create games involving throwing rope. I would inform Don and Gilda of the plan so they can practice as well. Don is one of the most athletically capable children, so he would have the best chance of getting the rope across the cavern. Put a rock inside the end of the rope would help it get over the cavern easier, as well as making it easier to get the rope around a branch on one of the trees on the other side of the cavern. We could also glide over the ropes once they're attached to the other side as well. Don and Gilda would suggest that we tell all the other children the truth, and even though it's risky, at this point we can gradually tell the children. This way they ease into the information and understand what they're practicing for. What we do isn't the only thing that's important, it's when we do it. The best time would be at night when our mother is asleep. Given the situation, we might be able to leave the children that are a couple years under the age of 6 since they wouldn't be harvested for a couple years. In fact, we could use them to distract our mother if it ever came to it, and they wouldn't be harmed at all since we are technically valuable to the demons. I would tell Phil, one of the children under 6 that is also very mature for his age, the situation we are in and what our plan is so he can potentially help us. Once we can confirm that Ray can break the trackers, I would give all the children a time frame for when we'll make the escape. But I would tell Ray only when we are about to escape so he can't foil our plans. We would need to pack supplies, add food for the escape as well. The night of the escape comes. I tell Phil to stay awake in case her mother ever gets up and to cause a distraction to prevent her from finding out the older children are gone. I get everyone together after our mother goes to sleep and we get our supplies to get ready to escape. After everyone is ready, I tell Ray our plan and bring him with us and have him bring the device that can break our trackers. We get to the wall and climb on top of it. Once everyone is up, we get to the spot which is easiest to throw rope across. Dawn throws the rope across and manages to get it tied around a tree branch. I get Emma to go across the rope and then have Dawn throw 2 more ropes across for Emma to catch and tie to more branches. After 3 ropes are tied to a branch, the children start to glide over to the other side of the wall 3 at a time. Once everyone is over and I'm the last one to cross, I would take down 2 of the ropes and let them swing over to the other children. The last rope I untie and use it to swing across and have everyone else catch me as I make it to the other side. We untie the ropes and take them with us so we can potentially use them again and cover up our tracks. I would then have Ray break all of our trackers so we can't be followed. We've escaped the orphanage and left no trace to which way we went. The children a couple years under 6 are left behind but are safe for now. In a couple years we'll be back with a plan to save them. But for now we have to worry about surviving outside the orphanage. And that's how I would beat our mother and the demons in the promised Neverland. Do you think there's a better way to do it? Let me know in the comments.